join us for the call. My name is Mary Tyndall. For those of you who I don't know, I am the Food Programs Director at the St. Joseph Community Health Foundation. And we've been holding these quarterly food insecurity and nutrition meetings for almost 2 years now, really bringing together people from all sectors that work in the areas of food insecurity and nutrition to share information and really work to identify gaps and possible solutions to those gaps. So really, really happy that everybody could join us today. Very briefly, I will share the agenda just for a quick moment so you can see what we have. We'll do some quick introductions. Then we have presentations from About Indiana 211 and Community Compass, and there will be some time for questions. Then a very few Menti questions about some things you'd like to see in the future for meetings. And then we'll have information sharing at the end. And I know we get a lot of information out of that information sharing about what different agencies are doing, or there's new trends or new information. So that's what the meeting will look like. I will stop sharing. And very briefly, we'll just go around and say your name and the organization for which you work and tag the next person. So again, my name is Mary Tyndall, and I will go ahead and tag my colleague, Mark Burkholder, who is helping us run the meeting.
Hi, Mark Burkholder. I'm with the St. Joseph Community Health Foundation, and I'm the multimedia coordinator running the call today. Jamie, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm Jamie Farron, and I'm the Deputy Director at Indiana 211.
You want to tag somebody, Jamie?
Tom, do you want to go next?
Sure, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Lagavine. I'm the Community Compass Coordinator with Indie Hunger Network. Thanks for including me on this call today. Dory, do you want to go next?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I'm Dory. I'm with Fort Wayne Community Schools in the nutrition office.
She feeds a lot of
Gina,
kids.
Gina, go ahead. She's
I'm
probably
Gina
still doing.
Dundon. Sorry, I'm driving still. I'm the wellness coordinator for Fort Wayne Community Schools. And Mary, I'm going to let you pick someone since I can't see the screen.
You betcha. I will go with Andrea Robinson.
Hello, my name is Andrea Robinson, and I work for the City of Fort Wayne in Economic Development, and I'll tag my coworker, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Crandall. I'm the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs in the Mayor's Office in the City of Fort Wayne, and I will tag Rebecca Karcher.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Karcher, and I work at Trinity English Lutheran Church downtown. And I will tag Cheryl.
I think you're muted, Cheryl.
Yeah, I am. I realize I'm like scrolling across to see who else if I get called, who I would tag. And then I realize, oh, I got to find myself yet. Okay. Cheryl Chalfant, new to the group with the Mary Cross Tittman Foundation, and I will tag Lara Schreck.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura. I'm the Executive Director of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And has Alice gone yet? No. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. I'm Alice with the Department of Environmental Management with Allen County. And I'll tag Jody.
Hello, I'm Jody Lehman. I'm with City Utilities, and I'm also with an organization called Food Rescue US.
Awesome. Let's see. I'll tag Eric for you.
Good morning. My name is Eric Ullman. I am with Ivy Tech here in Fort Wayne. I'm the Dean of the School of Business, Public Affairs, and Information Technology. It changes sometimes.
You're a lot of deans.
Yeah.
How about Nancy? Nancy?
Hi, I'm Nancy McCammon Hansen, and I'm a volunteer with Bread for the World and also AARP. Just finished the Senior Information Fair today.
Nice. Nice.
And I don't know who hasn't gone. Meg hasn't gone.
Hi, I'm Meg Disler, and I'm with the St. Joe Foundation. I get a backup, Margaret. That's a cross between Mark and Mary.
Yes. Great. Rachel Stolman.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel. I am a community outreach dietitian here at Parkview, and I work at the Greenhouse and Learning Kitchen. I also have with me Brittany. She's one of our community health workers for our food assistance support team.
Awesome. Wonderful. And I think Tyser Clark, is that your last name? I'm sorry, I don't know your first name.
Yes, it's Tanika. I'm with the Division of Family Resources. I'm the local office manager. I'm here representing Kim Yan.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that, Tanika. No problem. And Tyann, you are with WIC, so I just introduced you for everybody. I hope that's okay. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No, happy to have you here. All right, I think we've introduced everybody. You can tell we've got a wide range of organizations represented, so I'm happy about that. We are going to start off with a presentation from Jamie Farron, who used to live in Fort Wayne and work at the 211 up here, so a lot of us know her well. Jamie, go ahead and share your screen and tell us what you know about 211, please.
Hey, can I jump in real quick before Jamie starts? Her former employer was United Way, and Rob Hayworth is on the call too.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, Rob. I totally just passed over. I apologize for that.
Well, quite all right, and thank you, United Way board member Stephanie, for that introduction. So.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. My former employer is United Way too. How did I forget that? So thank you. And Jamie, go ahead.
All right. Okay, hopefully, let me get I'm used to Teams, so give me just a moment here. And if you cannot see my screen, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to get started. As was just mentioned, I am Jamie Farron. I'm the Deputy Director at Indiana 211. I have been with 211 for just about 12 years. Started out on the phones as a community navigator in Fort Wayne at the 211 Center there. At the time, it was serving Allen County and some of the surrounding counties, and it continued to grow in the time that it was housed there with the United Way. And in 2017, discussions started happening about how 211 could be sustainable, and some changes started to happen. Indiana 211 operated as a nonprofit for many years. And in 2020, we actually became a part of FSSA. So we'll talk about that as well. So there are 3 easy ways to access Indiana 211. People can call 211, just like always. They can also dial our toll-free number. Sometimes people aren't able to reach us, especially like in offices or facilities. A lot of times the phone systems aren't programmed to recognize a 3-digit number, so you can call the toll-free number. We also have texting available, and people can text their zip code to 898-211, and then we have our website. So really quickly, just to kind of bring you up to speed, like I said, we became FSSA, the Family and Social Service Administration's 8th division in 2020. We serve all 92 counties. Although we are centrally located in Indianapolis, our office is in Indianapolis, we have community navigators and other employees located throughout the entire state. That gives us a little bit of that local touch, something that we're continuing to work on as we finally come up from air from the pandemic and responding to that. We're finally able to get our footing a little and looking forward to what's ahead for us. The 211 service is available in 350 or more languages via teleinterpreters. Our average call is about 10 minutes. We do not have a time limit. Sometimes calls can last a half hour. Sometimes people call with very complicated situation. Right now, our average wait time is about 3 minutes. We like to see less than that. We like to see our goal is around 50 seconds. So we are in the process of hiring 10 new navigators on top of the existing team that we have. And so hopefully that will help with the wait time. In our database, we have 6,500 agencies, and those agencies have 16,000 or more services. We have 8 full-time curators, and that's all they do all day long is update our database, look for new resources, deactivate, activate, make changes. Agencies must be updated at least annually in order to stay in our database. That's important to understand. that, you know, the information has to be up to date. You know, that's essential to our work. I would say that most of our organizations are updated probably a dozen times or more throughout the year, depending on the agency. Some have seasonal programs and we're updating frequently. Some we have communication with, and they're contacting us all the time to let us know about funding and that type of thing. So another thing I just want to mention, although 211 is our core work, we do have a lot of partnerships throughout the state. We do have a specialized food line. So when you call into Indiana 211, there is an option that if you are just calling for food resources, that you can get those right away. You can bypass any wait times. Energy assistance is starting soon, and so our wait times just in general will be longer, but the food line is a very short wait. They're gonna do a very short assessment, give people the information that they need. Whereas when you actually call 211 and talk to a community navigator, the experience is a little different. If someone calls the food line and their situation is, you know, they discover that the situation needs more information or resources, they can requeue them to a 211 navigator and again, bypass that wait time. EAP, so we have a line that will launch on October 2nd, Monday, October 2nd, that there are a team of about 20 individuals hired and trained by IHCDA to help with EAP applications. So that's to help with the EAP online applications. We don't process applications. Everything still goes through the local offices, but individuals who need to apply online and are not able, we can help with that. We also have been very active in the IERA program. I know that Fort Wayne had their own individual program, but the counties that didn't, which I think was about 87 counties, have all applied through Indiana 211. Again, we don't process applications. We just serve as that central point of intake. We have our Be Well crisis line, where people who are in crisis can call and talk to a trained crisis counselor. Although we do get crisis calls at 211. That is not what we typically, you know, advertise ourselves as, but Be Well absolutely is. And they also handle calls. So some of their agents also handle calls for the 988 line. We also have a substance use disorder helpline. We are the hub for the peer recovery network for people with substance use disorder. Behind the scenes, we're taking calls for adult protective services. All of the reports go through 211, so we can also get people connected at the time of the report. We have information about childcare statewide, doing some special projects in Marion County with CCDF. I'm sure that you probably have heard 211 when the talk, when COVID was the hot topic, everyone was calling. We went from having 50 agents to 500 in the course of a week, and the COVID agents were handling thousands of calls every day, getting people scheduled for appointments, answering questions, talking about vaccines and testing. And then we also have a disaster queue that can be activated as needed. So this is just a list of some of our top referrals, our top needs. People often ask, like, what do people call 211 for? They call us for everything. If somebody doesn't know where to start, a lot of times they will start with 211, which is great. We don't have information. We are not specialized in any certain topic or any certain area. We just know a little bit about a whole lot of things that can kind of set people on the right path to get the resources that they need. Our top needs are always, sometimes they switch order, but our top needs are always housing, utility assistance, and food and meals. So it's really important that if you are referring people to 211 or you are calling yourself, that you understand kind of what that looks like. It does look different than it has in the past. I think that, you know, years ago, 211 was actually called First Call for Help. And it really truly was, you could call, we gave you basic information, telephone number, and, you know, you went and sought those resources. There's a lot more assessment that goes into it, because we began to realize years ago that when people called 211, they might be calling for food, they might be calling for shelter, but there's a whole lot of other things going on that, you know, we can get people connected to. And so while we have that connection, we don't know if they're going to call back. While we have that connection, we are able to do our assessment and gather some additional information. When they call, they we ask them if they've called before. We can actually pull up previous call records. That allows us to say, okay, you called last month and you needed food, you know, have you had a chance to, you know, get to those food pantries, and kind of follow up, see if there was any barriers to services and how we can better get people connected. For contact info though, you know, we do ask them, have you called before? We want their name and their phone number and their address. We can look up their township, but people have the option to remain completely anonymous. That is fine. They do not have to answer a single question that we ask. It is important that we have the zip code just because that helps us identify resources. The demographic questions that we ask, again, some of these are for connecting people. Some of this information helps us open new doors for resources. Some of this information, again, starts a new conversation. And some of it is for reporting purposes, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment, so that you can kind of understand what we do with all that data. We have so much data in our database. We're talking to, you know, 1,000 people every day. So we collect age, race, ethnicity. We ask every person that calls if they've ever served in the military. We find out the household composition to see if anyone in the household is pregnant, any children in the household. Sometimes there's special programs. We've had partnerships with different, you know, diaper giveaways, Head Start programs across the state that when we ask those questions, sometimes it triggers an additional question or resource. Callers are also asked a series of social determinants of health questions. So that's a big one. That's where the bulk of the call is going to be, other than providing referrals. And that, again, is a new experience for people who haven't called in a long time. And then we also ask people if it's warranted. You know, ultimately, we want to empower people, go out, seek the resources, have the information that you need. But you know, we talk to people every day that's just not a realistic expectation. And so in those situations where, you know, a new mom doesn't have food, or an elderly person doesn't have heat, we're going to make sure that we follow up on those calls, and, you know, later that day or the next day, to make sure that they were able to get connected to resources. Our navigators are also able to do advocacy. So if they are on the phone with someone who's having trouble accessing resources, that they can call with them and kind of speak on their behalf and, you know, ask the right questions. And so the social determinants of health questions that we ask, like I said, very important information, does take some time, but we take the time necessary. As you can imagine, when we ask these questions, a lot of times, again, new stories unfold, but we ask them about their employment status, their income, the highest level of education. We talk to them about if everybody in the household has health insurance. If anybody does not have health insurance, we can do a screening to see what options they might have, and work to get them connected to insurance options. We ask about their housing. Again, they might be calling for counseling for a child, and we're still going to talk to them about their housing, because we know that unfortunately there are people that have housing instability. And if we can get to them soon enough before the eviction notice comes in, before the court date, you know, maybe we can get them connected to resources. So if someone is not currently housed, we have an additional assessment that we do. That's just a few questions, but it helps us understand what happened that caused the housing crisis, and kind of learn more about the caller. That helps us get connected again to specialized resources, but also coordinated entry. The food question that we ask is, do you run out of food before you have money to buy more? And regardless of the answer, we ask them if they have SNAP benefits, because that kind of helps us determine, you know, those that say that they're not having issues, is it because they have SNAP, or are there truly no food needs? If they do not receive food stamps, we can offer a pre-screening and information and education about how to apply. So much of what we do is not just the information and referral, but also the education and the encouragement. Those processes can be very overwhelming. And so kind of walking people through what to expect, and, you know, if they've had barriers, again, how to overcome those is a really important piece of what we do. In the past 12 months, we asked them if their utilities have been threatened to be shut off. We ask them about their transportation need, and then we have some additional questions that we ask around domestic violence to try to identify situations that may be a result of domestic violence. have you ever served in the military and domestic violence question? When we started asking them formally, the number of people that we identified in those situations more than doubled. So you can see that those are really important questions. So our main focus really is talking to people. You know, we do have the texting feature available, but we like to talk to them. We want to be able to really connect with them, listen, and, you know, just make sure that they understand that there's someone who cares. We do have web resources, but again, this is not, we don't have an app. Our web resources are actually, we partner with Find Help, which used to be Aunt Bertha, and they provide our resources in a web format. I put on the screen, I copied a little screenshot of what it looks like when you are looking at a 211 resource. It says underneath it, Indiana 211 verified. And so they have some additional resources that don't meet our inclusion, and that's fine. We don't want people to not have that option if they're, you know, wanting to go online and search, but you can make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date information from us by looking for that. The other thing that I want to talk about is our data dashboard. So going across this menu, the blue line in the middle, there is information for service providers. There is information, Find Help is how people can find resources. And then there's the Indiana 211 data dashboard. This is fairly new. This is still an ongoing thing that we are developing, but it's really important that communities understand that it's there for them. It provides to the public real time, actually I say real time, but the dashboard's updated every Monday, every Sunday night at midnight. And so you can go in and you can select a county, an area, you can select the dates, and you can find out how many calls came in. You can find out, you know, this gives a breakdown of the months, you know, what month the calls are the highest. We saw a spike in calls last month. There was a great increase across all of our lines, not just the 211 line. Then once you drill down on how many calls are coming into your county, you can also, there's a drop down here where it says gender, where you can look for age, you can look for ethnicity, all of those type of things. It gives you the breakdown that we have. Not every caller answers the questions, but if we have the information, it is there. And so that's a really important resource for communities to know about. You can even drill down a little bit more. And so if you scroll down on that page, I'm sorry guys, if you scroll down on that page, there is in the left-hand bottom corner, there's caller need information, and it just breaks down all of our top needs. We couldn't possibly list all of them, but it lists the majority. You know, most of our calls, again, are for those basic needs. And so you'll see that food, for this time period, food and meals was the third need. When you click on that, it breaks it down to whether they were referred to food pantries, soup kitchens, that type of thing. And then it filters all of the demographics and the data to just food needs. So the information, there was 2,167 calls. It tells you about how many distinct, and this is specific again to who was calling for in Allen County for food related information and where they were referred. Again, this just, you know, you can drill down to unmet needs, which, you know, when we talk about community gaps, that's really important information. Most of the time when we're talking about food across the board, again, I'm really familiar with the resources in Allen County. I know things change, but I have a pretty good grasp on those. And I can tell you that most of the unmet needs are people that don't want to go to a food pantry. They would rather have a food voucher or a gift card to go to the grocery store. And, you know, we try to explain to them that that's, you know, not typically something that's easy to come by, and we try to give them resources, but they can refuse, and that's okay. And so we do document all of those needs. It's rare that someone lives in an area that truly is no food pantry that they can access. But if that's the case, again, it will be broken down on the lower right-hand side where it says reason for unmet need. Our dashboard, it's a work in progress. If you need information from it, you're not finding what you need, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help. I think this information is so important to local communities. I tell our community navigators, they like to talk to people. They like to connect people to resources. They're not so much about the data collection. That isn't their favorite part of the job, but they do understand how essential it is. So again, this is drilling down on the unmet needs a little bit more. So the blue, we had 2,121 referrals and 395 unmet needs. And that gives you some more information. The other thing I wanted to mention is that agencies can actually go in and see the demographics, the numbers of people that we're referring directly to them. So this one, I just selected Salvation Army of Fort Wayne and a time frame and how many calls did we refer there? What did we refer them for? What were the demographics of those individuals? All of that information, again, really important to local agencies. This is something that we are going to add the social determinants of health responses to. Our database team is working on that right now. It's a big endeavor, but we're going to get there. This was really exciting to launch because we had never been able to get to this place. That's one of the great things about joining the state. We don't have to worry about funding anymore, and we can actually make some progress. We can do some new and exciting things. We have a whole team of people that work with a data warehouse that can help us with all of this type of good stuff. Service providers, if they need to update their information, there is a link at the top that they can go in, they can search for their agency, they can look for information that needs to be updated, they can actually just type it in and hit send, and it will come to our database team who will verify the information and get things updated. So updates are really easy. We do reach out on an annual basis, but updates are really easy throughout the year. And the last thing I wanted to tell you was that we do have marketing materials available. They are also on our website. You can click on marketing materials and you can see what we have to offer. I know that we did a much better job getting marketing materials out when we had the office there locally, but I'm in Fort Wayne. My kids are still there, have meetings there from time to time. I'm in Fort Wayne a lot and can definitely get materials dropped off. They just have to be ordered through the website. Indiana 211 can also do training if there's groups that would benefit from knowing about the 211 service. Okay, that's it.
Jamie, thank you so much. That's a lot of information that I was not aware of. The data and information that you can drill down to is really fantastic. So I really appreciate that. I think we're going to go ahead and let Tom go ahead and share his screen and provide some information, and then we'll have questions for both Tom and Jamie, if that's okay. So, Tom, do you have a presentation?
Yeah, I do. Let me pull it up really quick.
Okay, great. And if you want to email that to me after this meeting, Tom, I can make sure everybody has access to it as well.
Great. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so let me just pull this up. All right, so like I said earlier, my name is Tom Lagaveen. I'm here from Indie Hunger Network. I am the Community Compass Coordinator with them. And Indie Hunger Network, if you are not familiar with us, we're a coalition of organizations in Greater Indianapolis, and we promote access for all to nutritious food through a sustainable hunger relief system. So here on this slide, we can see just pictures and logos of some of our partners here. And we work through collaboration with all of those organizations. Our mission is to create a system that ensures anyone who is hungry can access the nutritious food that they need. So what do we do? Aside from collaborating and working with all of our partner organizations to help them achieve their goals, we also raise awareness of hunger and how to address it. We also lead programs that fill gaps in our hunger relief system outside of the mission of our partner organizations. We support hunger relief partners in their efforts to improve their efficiency and effectiveness. We also do advocacy work. We advocate for policies that will alleviate hunger as well as its root causes. And we also conduct research to monitor food insecurity in our community and inform our collective goals as an organization. So these are kind of an overview of the programs that we run currently that are filling those gaps that we've found. One of those is Cooking Matters. This is cooking and nutrition education that program partners with lots of different organizations and WIC offices as well to provide cooking and nutrition education. They provide a class that teaches participants how to cook a certain recipe and then also provides those ingredients for those participants to take home so they can make that meal again at home. We also do a meal gap study. This is the research I mentioned earlier, which monitors local food needs specifically in the Marion County area. That kind of informs our work. We also have a food pantry network that supports the emergency food system. We have a grant program for the Marion County area that helps them get the resources they need and build their capacity to better serve their neighborhoods. We also do SNAP and WIC marketing just to increase the awareness as well as the enrollment in those programs. We lead a program called Food Drop, so that trucks with potentially wasted food can redirect those loads to food banks, food pantries, or other resources in the area that they're currently in. And what I'm here to talk to you all about today, Community Compass. This is our program that connects people digitally and makes them aware of what food assistance is near them in their areas. So yeah, I'm here talking about Community Compass. Here we go. So the kind of the goal of Community Compass for its users is to find food resources. So first of all, you can locate all those resources. We list all the food pantries in Indiana. We list meal sites throughout Indiana. We also have information on SNAP and WIC retailers. So any stores that accept those benefits, you can go on there and find where you can use those. We also list WIC clinics where you can go and sign up for those benefits as well as any help that you need with those. You can also check your eligibility for federal nutrition programs. We now include in Community Compass a SNAP and WIC calculator. So you can type in some general information, income, any financial information that will tell you if you are eligible for SNAP and WIC. And then we refer people to the FSSA website if they are eligible, so they can go ahead and sign up for those benefits. And you can also learn about upcoming food-related events, things like like farmers markets that accept SNAP and WIC benefits, any one-time food distribution events, things of that nature that don't really fit in the category of full-fledged food pantries or meal sites. We list those as well. It is available on multiple different platforms. You can download it as an app through the App Store or Google Play, depending what kind of phone you have. It's available on both of those. You can also access Community Compass on the web, whether you're on a computer, a tablet, cell phone, anything like that. You can access the website, get all that same information. So what kind of motivated us to develop Community Compass, you might ask. So through the research that we've done, we saw an information gap. The research has shown us that 25% of Marion County residents are food insecure, and 7% of those are missing meals. While some of that need is met through public assistance, federal nutrition programs, over 60,000 people are still missing meals despite that assistance. And they're not accessing available food assistance like food pantries and meal sites. So they may not be aware of what's available in their areas. And so what we're trying to do is spread that awareness and make that information easily accessible to those people who may not be aware of what's available for them or what they qualify for. So why we think Community Compass is important. The information that we provide is easily accessible, it's accurate, and hopefully in the attempt to provide that information easily and accurately, that will reduce the amount of missed meals in Indiana. And we also provide very detailed information so that people can make the right choices for them. We provide hours, eligibility, documents to bring, any languages other than English that are spoken at the food pantry or that are accessible there, whether it's wheelchair accessible or not. We've got lots of data points on those resources to share so people can make the right decisions for themselves. So a little bit of history of Community Compass, how it was developed. So in 2016, 2017, this was when the concept and creation of Community Compass came about through community feedback, talking with the community. In 2019, we did app development and user testing. They identified an initial developer for Community Compass, and it launched in 2020, just in Marion County. Indie Hunger Network's work is mostly focused in Marion County, so that's where we decided to start. That's where our biggest knowledge set is. And then in 2021, we expanded to launch statewide, so including all meal sites, food pantries, SNAP and WIC stores throughout the entire state. And we also added additional languages then as well. So Community Compass is now available in 10 languages. And this past spring in 2023, we have actually relaunched Community Compass to improve the user design, include some new features, and just improve the overall user experience. Here are some of our partners and funders that have helped us out with this process, getting to where we are now. So a little bit about what we've done over the past year, kind of redesigning the app. We've made it easier to use. We've worked with contractors to assess Community Compass and make suggestions and help us through that process, which was informed by user feedback that we were getting, that sometimes it was either difficult to use or they weren't sure, you know, what process to take to get that information. We also expanded to all languages on both platforms. Previously, we had 10 languages available on the web, but only English and Spanish on the app. We've included all 10 languages on both of those platforms now. We also have some additional features. Examples of that are a share function. So any resource that you find, you can share that digitally with someone else, whether that's email, text, anything like that. We've also included, which I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, a SNAP and WIC calculator that people can check to see if they're eligible for those resources. And this can be either anonymous, or people have the option to type in their email. If they do type in their email, we can send them an email then of further resources that might be useful to them. We also have filters for finding resources and some search bar improvements. And we do our data management through making those calls, and also through trusted partners. We have a trusted partner network throughout the state of Indiana. Like we said, most of our work is in Marion County, so we've partnered with Purdue Extension and some other organizations to help us update this information. So when they're aware of new changes, anything like that, they can update that as needed. So going further into data accuracy, what we do is IHN, Indie Hunger Network, does verification and updates. We send out emails to all of the resources that we list. We also are continuously making phone calls to update this information. And then there are ways to submit updates through the feedback form on our website as well. And then, like I just mentioned, we do data management with our trusted partner network. We also utilize volunteers to help us make these update phone calls. So you might ask how you can help. You can always help us update site information, whether that's just through the feedback form. If you see anything that's either out of date, or if you're aware of new updates, you can always use the feedback form on the website or app, or feel free to email us at communitycompass@indyhunger.com. And you can always spread the word about Community Compass as well. We have outreach materials in all 10 languages. We also have flyers, or we have stickers, business cards. We also have digital materials that you can download and print yourselves. Or if you have any other ideas of materials that might be useful to you in your area, we're always open to ideas. One person reached out to us about window clings, so we were able to print some of those and get them to them so they could hang those in kind of the doorways of some food pantries, so that if they were closed, people could refer to Community Compass to see what was open today. Like I said, if you're interested in outreach materials, I will send a link to a form, which is also right up here. But I can copy and paste that into the chat. If you're interested in ordering some free marketing materials, we'll send those out free of charge to you, so you can have those in your area. You're also able to print your own flyers from the About page of communitycompass.app. And feel free to reach out to us again, communitycompass@indyhunger.org. And while you're at it, please follow Indy Hunger Network on social media to keep up to date with new changes and updates with our organization, as well as Community Compass. So I'm going to do just a quick demo, if we have time, of the web app, just so you can all see kind of how it works. I'm going to out of here. And here we see the homepage of Community Compass. We have our resource categories down here. So there are two ways you can kind of go about finding a resource. If you click on one of these categories and you have your location enabled in whatever browser you're using, that will just pull up that type of resource for you in your area. If I do that, it'll pull it up in Indianapolis. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and hope that my internet connection is good enough while sharing video as well. Again, my apologies. Well, sharing video and searching is a lot for my internet. So here we see some resources popping up. In Fort Wayne, we see right now I have it filtered for free meals and free groceries. If we want, we can clear those filters and search for all resources. And this will show all of the available resources within a 10-mile range of that central location in Fort Wayne. And we can see this two different ways. These icons will pop up in the map if you're looking for a specific area, or if you're looking for specific resources. You can scroll down here and see all of these different resources, and click more information for any of these, and that'll pop up a little box right here in the middle, where we see more information, hours, and that it's open to everyone. We can see the website and get directions as well. If I want to filter just for a specific resource, we can also see that. Let's do just free groceries, which is going to be food pantries and similar resources there. So here we can see the food pantries available within the 10-mile radius of that central Fort Wayne area. But we can also scroll through here If we click on any of these, it will bring up that information box here. Clicking more information will bring up the hours and who can get food, and any other information that we've collected, along with website, things like that. So one other thing I want to demonstrate is the SNAP and WIC calculator. So this was provided to us by by snapscreener.com. We partnered with them to get this on our website. This is available in English and Spanish and Haitian Creole. If a user is using the app in any other language than that, it will bring it to a Google Translate screen of this app, which we've also utilized a translation service to verify that this process is streamlined in those languages through that process as well. So we have a few required fields here. So let's just go ahead and quick to fill out some of this information. And then we can scroll down and see whether or not we're eligible. We also get an explanation, if we'd like, of why we got those results, how it's calculated, and then referring to the FSSA website. And then we also, like I mentioned before, we also list events and classes. This will be a location-based service as well, but also have filters if you'd like to search in other areas. So here's that events page. This is more just scrolling through those events. So, and I will put my contact information in the chat, as well as a form where anyone can order marketing materials if they're interested. So thank you so much for having me today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. I learned a lot about Community Compass. I originally became even more interested in it when I was at one of our Heal markets, and I was talking to a shopper who was using Community Compass, and she was all excited showing me about it. So I'm happy to learn a little bit more about it and all your services. I want to open it up for questions from anybody out there. You're welcome to just kind of take yourself off mute and ask the question, or if you're more comfortable, you can put it into the chat. Does anybody have a question for Tom or Jamie?
I always have questions. These were such wonderful presentations. I learned so much. Thank you for the great work you guys are doing. So my question for Jamie is, can you kind of give a summary of what do you see with the data, or are you familiar enough with the food data that there's particular trends that stand out to you, or concerns that would be helpful for us to know? And if that's not really realistic, is there a way we could ever work with you guys to somehow, I know that it said that we can go in and research it ourselves, but to kind of figure out on a regular basis, maybe it's once a year, what are the key patterns that are going on in food, so that we as a community are aware of what you're coming through?
Yes, absolutely. So we have worked with some groups to track data and trends around homelessness, and that is absolutely something that we could do with food. You know, it would kind of be trying to decide like what information is most important. I can tell you that there were changes to benefits with SNAP, you know, within the last year that definitely impacted the food needs. Like I said, the food needs is always in the top 5 or top 3, and it was continually like in the top needs across the state. And so, you know, things like that, I mean, have a great impact. We can even track as far as like, you know, towards the end of the month or the beginning of the month, the age group, you know, that type of thing. We also do capture some information about SNAP. So if there are people within food insecurities that are not on SNAP, like why not? What is that barrier? Do they need help applying? Do they, you know, what is that barrier? But yes, absolutely, that is something that we would be happy to do. I know that we've done that with COVID. It's just kind of coming up with those parameters. But yes, be happy to help with that.
So if we had a follow-up, if anyone else is interested, but if we could meet with you and maybe kind of what is surveillance data that we should just be aware in case something shifts. We kind of know our own fields, but it would be wonderful to have that just to keep us informed.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I'm on board.
Wonderful. I had a second question then for Tom on this one here. Could any of us would it be helpful if we all just started pushing Community Compass from our individual pieces? Would that be beneficial? It just looks like a great app. I downloaded it on my phone as you were talking.
Yeah, we would love if you helped us spread the word about Community Compass. Again, the link to order marketing materials, if you're interested, is in the chat there. We can send you flyers, business cards, stickers. We've got options to order there. So, and yeah, we will mail those out free of charge to you. So,
any other questions? I can think of a couple myself. Tom, I'm wondering, I know you started off as, Marion County kind of programming. How do you feel you're doing about, getting enough of the information from the other parts of the state, especially Northeast Indiana?
Yeah, so we partnered with food banks and other organizations in that kind of like initial data collection when we were expanding statewide. And through our trusted partner network, through our regular maintenance of that data through phone calls and emails, we feel like we're doing a really great job of, equally updating all parts of the state. So even though, yes, Marion County is the center of kind of the rest of our work as Indie Hunger Network, we want to make sure that we're, paying equal attention to the data updates here across the state.
I have a question. This would be applicable to both of you. Do you also track in any way areas of the state, counties, for example, that there are not enough food resources to meet the demand? And as an example, we're exploring maybe rural areas that don't have as many food pantries or just food available to the residents. And I'm curious if you guys have looked, either of you, at identifying areas where more resources are absolutely needed.
So I'll start. Yes, that is something that we look at usually around, once a month or so. We pull the unmet needs to see, again, if there's a spike in anything or if there's a specific zip code, specific county that seems to be impacted. We have the ability on our side of things to kind of have I think they're called heat maps. I'm not really sure, but you can see by the county or the zip code, like it shows darker where the unmet needs are. And so that's when our database team, we give them a list of like, okay, we need to find resources here. But that's as far as we can go. Like, we don't really have any connection. Well, I shouldn't say we don't have connections, but we don't have any channels that we utilize regularly to say, hey, we found this deficit and we sought resources and there's none that exist. So.
Yeah, similarly at IHN as well. We're really focused on collecting those resources, making sure that information is up to date, but don't really have the resources to make those necessary changes of adding those resources in other parts of the state.
Right. Yeah, no, but it's really helpful to, as a foundation to perhaps, or maybe a government entity, to understand that there is an unmet need. I think it's really valuable. I'm excited that, you might be able to help those of us in the community figure out where there might be some additional resources needed. And then we can help take it from there, hopefully. Thanks.
Great question. Anyone else? I'll say one more thing, and then you, Tom, and Jamie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm kind of making an assumption here, and that's dangerous. But it appears to me as if the Community Compass, the app, might be really robust and one of its strengths. And then with 211, its strength is more in that person-to-person communication. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, so we make lots of referrals. I should have mentioned that from the beginning. When someone has a food need on our food line, they provide that information to every person that's calling, just if they're able to seek those resources. But yes, that is their lane, and they do it well. And so we focus on the calls, and that's the same reason that we partner with Find Help, is that their internet presence across the board, not just with food, but with all resources, is much better than ours. So why duplicate efforts?
Absolutely. Tom, anything to say about that?
Yeah, 211 has done a really great job of including all these different types of resources, and ours is absolutely specialized towards food assistance. So
great. Wonderful. Any more questions before we move on? Okay, great. Thank you for such a great discussion and a lot of great information. I'll send out materials after the meeting. I think we're going to really quickly move to a couple quick Menti questions. They're not going to be difficult, I promise. Mark's going to share the screen. This will just help us set our next meetings, so I don't have to send out a bunch of doodle polls and those kinds of things and get on people to answer them. So if you can go, if you're on another screen and you have another screen available, go to menti.com and enter that code. Or if you want to use your phone, just scan the QR code and you can use it on your phone. And we're just going to ask a couple real quick questions. Looks like we've got 6 people getting on, 7. We have close to 15 maybe on the call. Maybe 18, but we're getting there. All right, Mark, you want to pull up the first question? What topics should be considered for the next meeting? So just throw out any idea that you would like. It just helps me try to come up with some ideas, and I'll reach out to others, of course, who may not be on the call, but anything you can think of that might help you, your agency, organization, serve people who are looking for food resources a little bit better. I would absolutely appreciate your thoughts. Anybody? Vouchers, awesome. Rural food rescue efforts, I like that. That's interesting. Businesses, how are the food banks or other community partners managing the needs? Bigger community strategy. Boy, I'd like to dive into that a little bit more for sure. Areas of Northeast Indiana with needs for additional providers. Love that. Anybody got any other ideas? Food rescue, that's a good one. I'm hoping we can hear a little bit more about that. Breakdown of services provided by those on the call. Great. Yeah, we can dive into that 211 information. Transportation, love that. Good. Anybody else? Okay, that gives us a little bit of information. Feel free to message me at any time if you just have a thought about some information you'd like to hear in one of these meetings. So let's go on to the next one. Next meeting will be in person. We said we'd have 2 meetings online every year and 2 in person. So we're going in person next time. Any ideas for locations that might be interesting? We were at Johnny May Farm last time and everybody really enjoyed that. So let's see, Trinity English, that would be fun. That would be easy to walk over there. Any other great ideas? Places we can learn, gather. I think Rebecca just volunteered, which I'm happy about. All right. Again, if you're interested in hosting or you have an idea at some point that strikes you, please let me know. So let's go ahead and go to the next screen. And this will just be about preferred times to meet. So I don't have to send out a lot of doodle polls. These options for the best time for Finn to meet. So we're looking at November. And if there's a preference for those, I think, Mark, you have to like slide them, I believe, is to rank them in order. Is that right?
Yes, this is ranked choice. So put your most preferred at 1 and your least preferred at 4. And you can move them or drag them, move them by clicking the arrows or drag them by holding down and then dragging.
Great. Hopefully that's working for you all. Anybody has a question, feel free to ask Mark. I ask him lots of technical questions. Here we go. Got a few times coming up. We are not early morning people. We do not like 8:30. I understand that. However, I would bring coffee up. There's a little bit. Great. It's like the 10 a.m. slot looks like a pretty good one. Any more votes there? I only heard from about 6 people so far. And I know it's hard to catch everybody, so we'll just do the best we can. Oh, we're getting a tie with the loser is definitely the early morning, so we'll avoid that time, and I can understand that. All right, thanks. We have, I think, one more slide, right, Mark? And I would like to schedule and get these meetings on the calendar for 2024. That way we'll know they're on there, their quarterly meetings. So here are some options, just the day of the week that's better in general for you, and the time that might be better in general for you. And we'll try to get those on the calendar, so then we hope people can work them into their schedule. I think this is the same thing. You drag and drop your options to rank them. So if you like Mondays, notice I didn't put Fridays in there. I left Fridays out. It is a day a lot of times we try to get as much done as we can. Six people that have responded, 7. Thursdays. Anybody else? I'm getting there. Ooh, even Mondays. Okay. Sometimes we avoid scheduling meetings on Monday, so it might actually work pretty well. Okay. Anybody else? 13, that looks pretty good. That's probably most of us. So great. Thank you so much. I think that's it, right, Mark? Or do we have another one? No, that's it.
Yep,
thank you. Thank you so much. That saves me some doodle polling. But again, feel free to message me at any time. So now's the fun part of the meeting where we get to go around and provide updates on what our organizations are doing, any areas where you might need help or assistance. Please let us know. We want to encourage as much collaboration and cooperation as possible. And I can't help myself. I have to start with LaQuisha because I know she's at the market and she probably has a fun update for all of us. She's got a hard hat on. So LaQuisha, how is the Pontiac Street Market coming along?
Oh, it is coming along well. Super excited. I know you probably can see behind me. We have our sub shop. Everything is coming in. All of our furniture is in, and it's going great. We're on task. We just have a couple more things. Our shelves behind me are in. Our refrigeration. So we're almost there. Super excited. We're just waiting on our beverage counter to come next week. Floors will be waxed and sealed, and construction team will be out of here at the end of the month. So I am excited for the progress.
That is fantastic. Do you have an opening date tentatively? How's that looking?
We do. So we have a soft opening scheduled for 11/6. And grand opening 11/11. So we're tentative on those dates. We're just waiting for final approvals from WIC and SNAP. And as soon as we get those approved, then we can set those dates in stone. So, and if you guys want to come, I'll be here. Just send me an email. You guys can come and take a tour.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And when you get those dates for sure locked down, let us know and I'll send them out to everybody on this list so that they can attend if they'd like to. Any questions for LaQuisha or anything you need from us, LaQuisha, that how we can be supportive?
No, I think everything's going well. And as I get communication out, I can funnel that to you guys and just help pass that out. But looking for resources. So if your organizations have resources that you feel beneficial for the customers that come in the door, please send me an email or send them over to me. I will be glad to hand those out to the community as they come in our store.
Why don't you put your email in the chat, if you would, LaQuisha. And Pontiac Street Market is on almost all platforms, I think, of social media. So if you want to give them a follow, you'll get those updates as well. So that's exciting. So, okay, anybody else like to volunteer to go next with any updates of things that are happening in their agencies, changes to policies, programs, services, anything? Rebecca will.
Hi. So at Trinity English, I know we're not a food agency, but we do some things about feeding folks. One is our Thursday evening community dinner that's open to anyone at 5:30 on Thursdays. We have gone rather rapidly from an average of about 70 people attending to about 120 people attending. We make the food, serve the food. A lot of the food we purchase from Community Harvest, and since we don't require any kind of proof of need or anything like that, we're curious about some of the demographics of the people. There have been evenings where we've had upwards of 6 or 7 little kids, like under 6 years old. They're there with parents, but so there's clearly a need. We also then have traditionally tried to provide some food vouchers to families to go to Community Harvest, not for that meal group. Typically, those folks are homeless or very precariously housed, and going to a food bank isn't maybe the best connection for them. We also have seen just a really rapid rise in requests in recent weeks, from maybe 25 per week to 45 per week. And that's going to be unsustainable at some point for us. But there's clearly something going on where there's a lot more need, and it must be more difficult to get vouchers from some other places. So we're just curious about that.
That's a really big need. Thank you for sharing that. Is anybody else experiencing that, or would anybody else like to chime in? Okay. Well, thank you for sharing, Rebecca. Appreciate that. Updates from anybody else and things that are happening at their agencies? Laura? I think you took yourself off mute, so I volunteered you.
Let's say something. So yeah, we have also been seeing an increased need. So far this year, we've already served over 15,000 people through our food pantries, and then 7,000 through Community Harvest food vouchers. So many of our locations are still doing vouchers. Just want to make sure that you knew that not all of we're a volunteer member organization. So each area is very unique. So not all of them are offering those, but we can direct you to a place that would provide those. So that I do realize that's a need. And I just wanted to thank Tom and Jamie for the great presentations. I'm definitely going to reach out and make sure that our information is updated through the Community Compass and 211. So that's been great. So
thank you, Laura. And just again, Laura's with St. Vincent de Paul Society. So thank you. Updates from anybody else? Any of our Parkview people have updates? Rachel, Michelle, got anything to let us know about? Okay, anybody else on the call? Kelsey's with Aging and In-Home Services. Do you have anything, Kelsey? Hi. You're on mute.
Unmute. There we go. Hi. I don't think I have any major updates to provide. just to introduce myself, though, I'm Kelsey Owen, and I oversee the nutrition programs with aging and in-home services of Northeast Indiana. And I actually think I get the privilege to partner with some of you and some of your agencies.
Diane, anything to report at WIC?
Yeah, I just want to share that WIC will be going through a formula transition. Our contract formula is changing from Gerber Good Start to Mead Johnson, which will be Enfamil products, which would be great because they're all halal. We have a large halal population in our area. So that will greatly benefit them, and they won't be limited to just one type of formula.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, and right now it's sitting in Congress in regards to our fresh fruit and vegetable benefit that we offer on our regular food package. During COVID, it was increased significantly. Right now it's sitting in Congress to be decreased back down to like $6 a month. So, which doesn't get you much. So we're waiting to see what happens with Congress in regards to that.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. Thank you for that information, Diane. I appreciate that. Let's see. Anybody else want to provide an update with their organization?
I could just introduce myself. I'm new to the group. Might be interesting to know how city utilities might be involved in this kind of project. 40% of food is still wasted in the US, and it comprises the largest component of landfill waste, and it produces an incredible amount of greenhouse gas. So that is something that ties in with my other organization, which is Food Rescue US, which attempts to connect with food producers, whether it be groceries or caterers or restaurants, to get that excess food that is thrown away and keep it from being wasted. So those things kind of dovetail to my mission. But I'm super interested in hearing about all these resources. And from the point of view of Food Rescue US, we provide a connection from point A to point B, and we use volunteer labor to drive excess food to charity organizations. So I could see a connection. For example, I've been trying to look for a contact at the Pontiac market, so now I have one, which is amazing. But any organization, including even Community Harvest, has excess food, something that they maybe don't have a resource for. So we connect people together that can use those things, and we use volunteers to deliver that food. So we fill in the gaps in some areas and help to alleviate the waste portion, because there's plenty of food, it's just not getting to the right place, and it's just being wasted. So that's my interest, that's my area.
Really appreciate that, Jody. I think we're going to tap on you to provide a presentation maybe at a future meeting as well, because you're doing some great things. So Tamika, I know you're with FSSA and you might not have any updates, but I wanted to provide the chance if you have anything that you'd like us to know about.
Well, no updates. Just listening to all of this information. Hoping that the clients that are being served, the customers that you serve, that they are aware of DFR, and if they're having issues with application processing and things like that, that maybe the agencies can maybe reference Kim or myself, so that we can always try to help if possible. We have an email address that I can provide if Kim hasn't already provided that if somebody is having a challenge with getting benefits processed. A lot of times it can be a confusing process. And so people may just decide they don't want to do it. And there still may be a need. They just don't want to or know how to. So it's good to know that we have people in the background helping our clients to gain access to the benefits they may be eligible for. We have seen an increase in applications. So that kind of goes along with some of the other programs that have indicated seeing an increase in need. So
yeah, that's great to know. If you don't mind putting the email address in the chat, that would be great. We really appreciate having our government connections here on the line listening in and helping us out. So very much appreciate that. Anybody that has not provided some information, Alice, would anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, so if I could just go ahead, I'm with the Department of Environmental Management, and we also focus on waste reduction. I'm currently working with Sheila Curry Campbell. She's in the 07, and she was on the city council. She's also at Pilgrim Baptist Church. So one of her efforts right now is trying to bridge the gap there between food waste and also compost in their community. And then I'm the one who put in the chat about multifamily apartment and trailer home food accessibility. I'm doing research on that just with mapping and then their means of transportation because they don't have access to a lot of services like recycling. It's kind of hard for them to opt into composting subscriptions, I would imagine. So I am glad LaQuisha was on here. I'll try reaching out to her, but if there's anything I can do with my department, we haven't really touched on food rescue in a while. So just any suggestions or contacts I'm open to.
Great. Thank you, Alice. Really appreciate that. Yes, we will include you in all future meetings for sure. Anybody else? Rob, Cheryl, anything you'd like to add? Yeah, just listening. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Rachel, one more time. Rachel Stolman at Parkview. Anything else? Rachel, do you have the email address for your FAST team? I always like to remind people of that if you have that.
Yeah, sorry. It's fast@parkview.com.
Okay.
No updates. We're just continuing to build the FAST team and kind of getting out there into the community and sharing what we do. So yeah.
Yeah. So FAST is Food Assistance Support Team, I believe, and they actually will help people sign up for SNAP and help them find the documents and get the documents and submit them. So they're really hands-on in the local community. You know, if they take that first step, maybe with 211 and they still have some trouble with that, it's fast@parkview.com. And I think 3 people on that team, Rachel, maybe?
We have 4 now. We have Andrew, our coordinator, Brittany and Sierra, our community health workers, and then we have John, who is actually our pantry coordinator.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, we might have a presentation maybe from your FAST team in an upcoming meeting as well, because that's a newer resource that I think is helpful. Stephanie, anything from city government? I'm sorry, city government.
No, I just think we're excited to partner with the various organizations on this call and make sure that we meet the needs of our community.
Great. Appreciate that, Stephanie. All right. Any last words from anybody? And because we might get 10 minutes extra, finish a little bit early. No? Thanks everybody for hanging on. I think we learned some great things, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Look for the invitations, and we'll see you at Trinity English Lutheran, Rebecca and everybody else. So thanks for joining. Bye-bye.